Good morning. Welcome to this service. Thank you for attending our service. And we're going to move right on to our devotional reading. And we're going to call forth Kathy Mikuni to deliver that reading.
Okay, we'll start with opening meditation. It's going to be a poem by Lady Takeko Kujo, who we're honoring today. Splendor of an evening sky. Who can ever fathom its timeless mystery? Million eyes, when sparkling bright in the sable sky, touch my heart, my lonely heart, with serenity. More than all the countless sands Ganges River holds are the infinite Buddhas who fill this universe, ever watchful over us throughout day and night. Hearing this, my lonely night fills with lasting peace. Namamida Butsu.
Namamida Butsu.
Namamida Butsu.
Namamida Butsu. Namamida Butsu. Thank you very much, Kathy. Again, thanks to those of you in Cyberland who are joining the service as well. We are the five, the vaccinated, the masked, and the brave here for our production crew. I'm just about to lose the mask. The rest of our friends here are a good 30 feet from me, and I want you to be able to hear me. Welcome to our Lady Kujo service, also Super Bowl Sunday. Go Rams. We're going to move right into the Sutra chanting portion of our service, and we will be chanting the Sanbutsu-ge. Namomida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namomida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Busatsu Daimuryo Jukyo Sanbutsu-ge Kogen Gigi Ijin Mugoku Nyode Enmyo Muyoto Sha Nichigatmani Shuko Enyo Kaishnon Pe Yunyaku Jumoku Nyorai Yogen Tyote Murin Shogaku Daion Koru Jipo Kaimon Shojin Tamai Chie Itoku Muryo Shusho Keiu Jintai Vennen Shobuten Hokai Gujinjin no Kungongai Tai Mumyo Yokunute Son Yomu Nino Shi Jintoku Muryo Kukun Kodai Chie Jinmyo Komyo Iso Shindo Daisen Ganga Sabuten Daisho Ho Kado Shoji Mihuge Daten Fute Joi Kainin Shojin Nyore Samai Chie Ijo Gothe Toku Buten Fugyo Shigan Ithai Kuku Issa Dayan Keshi Ubuten Yakuthen Nokuman Muryo Daisho Shunyong Onya Kuyo Issai Shito Shobuten Funyo Gudo Kensho Fungyaku Hinyong Odya Shobuten Sekai Bufu Kage Mushu Tatendo Komyo Shisho Henshisho Kokunyo De Shojin Ijin Nanryo Ryoga Sabuten Kokoro Nai Chigoshu Kimyo
dojo chozaten kokunyon nayon nimu toto gato aimindo daten isai jipo raisho shineten shoujo ito ga koku keiraku anon kobuten shinmyo vega shinsho tsugan no hi rikisho shoyoku jipo seison chie muge joryo shison chiga shingyo keiryo shinshi shoku dokuchu gagyo shojin ninju ahuke namandabu 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 Gani shikudoku myodo sei ithai don moda ishin ojo koku namanda burmanda namanda 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 burmanda Namo Mita Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Mita Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Mita Butsu. Well, again, good morning, and I am going to now ask you to join me for the devotional reading of the, I'm going to give the song first. We're going to have the Gatha Seiya, and the other four people in the room better sing really loud. We're only going to try the first verse. It's a beautiful song. Actually, Kathy Mikuni read the translation as our devotional reading this morning. We're going to read one line in best. It's a little high for some of us. So, do I do this a cappella, or is Alan he's going to cue the music? Okay. Thank you very much for joining me for the Gatha Seiya. That's the most difficult thing I'm going to do today, as long as the Rams win the game. And we're going to go on to the devotional reading, my side of which will be the three treasures. This comes from the Sutras. It was put together by former Bishop Suji, but most of this is from the Nirvana Sutra, the three treasures. I ask you to join me after the first paragraph. How rare and wondrous it is to have been born into human life, and now I live it. How rare and wondrous it is to be able to listen to the Buddha Dharma, and now I am able to hear it. If I do not transcend the world of delusion in this life, when will I ever attain spiritual liberation? May I, along with the entire Sangha, with sincere heart and mind, rely on that which can be truly relied on in life, the three treasures. I rely on the Buddha. May I, along with all sentient beings, awaken to the great path with my entire being and discover the highest aspiration, which is to become a Buddha. I rely on the Dharma. May I, along with all sentient beings, deeply reflect on the meaning of the sutras and gain wisdom that is as deep and vast as the ocean. I rely on the Sangha. May I, along with all sentient beings, become one Sangha of life, able to move forward and live with the dynamic spirit that is hindered by nothing. The unsurpassed, deep, and wondrous Dharma, even in millions of kalpas, is extremely difficult to encounter. But now I am able to experience and embrace it. May I come to understand and revere the true meaning of the Tathagata. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. Well, again, thank you. And this is our service honoring Lady Takeko Kujo. This is our service honoring Lady Takeko Kujo. It's also Super Bowl Sunday. I hope we all have a good time. But first off, rather than address either of those themes, I would like to thank all of you for the support that you've been giving to our temple. The Pasadena Buddhist Temple has been generously and kindly supported by all of you these past 2.5 years as we've tried to navigate this COVID epidemic. And now we are facing extraordinary challenges. Extraordinary challenges are coming upon the Pasadena Buddhist Temple. Our asbestos abatement, we won't tell you how much it's going to cost, like really a lot. Asbestos abatement, termite abatement. Yeah, everybody's got termites, but every now and then you got to get rid of them. Termite abatement, COVID abatement. We're all trying to abate that COVID-19-variants virus. So we truly appreciate your generosity and kindness that have kept us running these past 2.5 years, and we're still going. This service is, as I told you several times, dedicated to Lady Takeko Kujo, who in 1904 established the Buddhist Women's Association. This was under the auspices of Hongwanji Ha, Nishi Hongwanji, the Nishi Hongwanji denomination of the Jodo Shinshu school of Pure Land Mahayana Buddhism, of which her father, Takeko Kujo's father, His Eminence Reverend Koson Otani, was the chief abbot, or Gomonshu. Gomonshu meaning the revered keeper of the gate. Her father is more well known by his honorary title, which is Myonyo Shonin. And 5 years before his daughter, Takeko Kujo, founded the Fujinkai, the Buddhist Women's Association, Myonyo Shonin sent the first Buddhist ministers to the United States. So he was the one that propagated Buddhism here. And when Nishi Hongwanji, as did many Buddhist groups, were propagating themselves on the Asian continent at the same time as the Japanese army is attacking the Asian continent, and in North America in utter peace. Myonyo Shonin, Lady Takeko Kujo's father, decided, let's focus on North America. That's why we have like 10 times as many temples as any other denomination of Jodo Shinshu. So he realized better not to propagate your teachings to those you're fighting with militarily, better to go in peace, and made a difference. That's why we're here. Now, last year, I also had the honor of delivering the Dharma Message at the service honoring Lady Takeko Kujo, and that video still exists on the internet and is full of valuable details. So you can watch that again if you want to. But I'm going to give you only a little more historical detail, less historical detail on Takeko Kujo than I did last year, because I want to focus a little more on Takeko Kujo as an exemplar of Buddhist living, what she exemplified for us. However, I will report some details, her dates of birth and passing and such. She was born on September 7th of 1887 and died on February 28th, 1928. This is why we usually hold this service in February. She passed in February. In Japan, Lady Takeko Kujo is especially remembered for being a caregiver during the worst time, the worst period, and in the worst sections of Tokyo during the Great Kanto earthquake of 1923. And besides acting as a nurse, actually, this aristocratic lady out there wiping the phlegm and the blood off people and bandaging them. Besides being a nurse and a caregiver, she raised funds for the building of a charity hospital to treat the poor. And she raised also funds to establish women's colleges throughout Japan, beginning with the college she had graduated from, that my wife has graduated from, Kyoto Joshi Daigaku, which was a little school before she came along, and she expanded it into a genuine college and built other colleges designed for women all over the country. She also wrote several books, and she donated the profit from the sales of those books to building these charity hospitals. And there is the Asoka Clinic in Tokyo and the Asoka Clinic in Kyoto. She was an important leader in Jodo Shinshu Buddhist tradition. Lady Takeko Kujo was an advocate for women's rights, an advocate for educating women in Japan and for moving them into leadership roles. Again, she was also an exemplar of Buddhist life, of Buddhist living, of living as a Buddhist, an exemplar of how to live as Buddhists. We may well find guidance for living as Buddhists in the life of this great Buddhist laywoman. She wrote several books. The one that's been translated twice into English, Muyuge, Flower Without Sorrow. And I'm going to read the most famous passage from that. I know I read it last year too, but A Moment in Eternity. This one, I think in Japanese it's particularly well written. My skills aren't good enough to tell, but I think that's why this one is so popular, not just because we like it. A Moment in Eternity from Muyuge, Baroness Takeko Kujo. Shadows from the 7 hills of Rome creep up to the ruins of an ancient civilization. The ruins seem to symbolize the end of history on Earth. However, when compared with the eternal nature, with the eternity of nature, the brevity of human history and our impermanence becomes clear. Our existence is no more than a grain of millet. Regardless of how momentary, however, there is no doubt that we exist. We must not let even a fraction of this time escape us. The sacredness of life thus will become apparent. Our grief is not that life is so short, but that we're unable to live our momentary life well. Baroness Takeko Kujo. Now here she tells us that we are just a moment in eternity, that each of us is as small as a grain of millet. Elsewhere, she writes that eternity is in each moment, that each moment of life is sacred, as she has suggested here as well. She puts this much more concretely than the Buddhist sutras that say emptiness takes form and form is empty. No, eternity exists in each moment. Everything is sacred, but each of us is just this moment of eternity, like a grain of millet, this tiny little thing. 5 years after the Great Kanto earthquake of 1923, at the age of 41, Lady Takeko Kujo died of an illness she contracted while caring for the needy and the injured in the Great Earthquake. "118 years ago, Takeko Kujo began working to put women into the leadership position. Now here at the Pasadena Buddhist Temple, 2 of our last 3 temple presidents have been women. And when Lady Takeko Kujo established the Buddhist Women's Association in 1904, her father had already helped Japanese Americans to establish about half a dozen temples here in the United States. But you know, none of them had women presidents back then. Next month, I'm speaking to you here in February of 2022, next month, a woman from Southern California, Mrs. Terry Omori, will assume the presidency of the 60 temple system of Buddhist Churches of America. She'll be the first woman president of BCA. It should have happened long ago. But this is all because of Lady Takeko Kujo. She started that ball rolling 118 years ago, and now we're going to have a woman leader of our 60 temple organization here in the United States of America. Change can come when we work for it. Change can come. Lady Takeko Kujo tried to live with the nobility of a bodhisattva, a Buddha in training, a Buddha to be in training. She was empowered by her status and by wealth. Still, she exemplified genuine Buddhist living. Lady Takeko Kujo was raised in the most egalitarian, the most democratic school of Mahayana Buddhism, Jodo Shinshu. But Lady Kujo imagined an even more democratic, grassroots-based religious organization and worked to create it. She imagined a Buddhist organization with a highly organized and active women's organization. She imagined an even better way of Buddhist living. Now, we too can help to build an even more inclusive and humble form of Buddhism. If we're going to carry on the work of Lady Takeko Kujo, it is clear that we need confidence and self-esteem to do this. So remember, we all have Buddha nature. But Buddha nature just means you have the potential to become a Buddha. All living things have Buddha nature. Remember, you have it. Remember, we are loved and respected and to a very real degree, may I say, protected by Amida Buddha. There are reasons for us to have confidence. Lady Takeko Kujo had the confidence to empower Buddhist women. She had the confidence to advocate for the greater control of organizations by women. That sort of confidence comes from being part of something vast. Lady Takeko Kujo had confidence. She had the assurance of someone with powerful friends. We can have such assurance, we can have such confidence, and we can work to bring greater equality to our communities. It's not a self-assurance, rather the assurance of people who are part of a vast and caring community. Being part of a vast and caring community, we can have that assurance to go out and change things for the better. It's not self-centered. It's not self-assurance, it's assurance of our community. It's trusting in our community. There are about 1 billion Buddhists here on planet Earth right now. We've been here for 2,500 years on planet Earth. Our community extends to kindly persons on other planets. It includes loving personages in other dimensions, in other realms. Amida Buddha, the liberator of all. Kannon Bodhisattva, loving sister to all of us. Our community, our Sangha, is interplanetary, multidimensional, huge, supportive and real. This is our Sangha, this is our community. In this community, we can bring change, just like Lady Takeko Kujo did. We are part of the same community that Lady Takeko Kujo was and is. I may be no more than a grain of millet looked at in the context of this great universe, in this vast universe, as Lady Kujo suggested, just like a grain of millet, a mere moment in eternity. However, Buddha nature, suchness, goodness, only comes in very small packages, only comes in persons, can only be felt in the moment. Eternity can only be found in moments, in the moment, in this moment. Such is the guidance that we've received from Lady Takeko Kujo a little more than a century ago. We are grateful for her contribution to our tradition, to our communities, to us. And in closing, allow me to ask you to join me in Gassho and in the saying of the Buddha's name a few times. This simple and ideally humble path that Lady Takeko Kujo walks with us. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. I am now going to again call upon Kathy Mikuni to give a closing reading for us.
Thank you. Thank you again, Sensei, for such an excellent talk about Lady Kujo, and I hope we can all follow her example. Since it's February and it's Black History Month, I'd like to quote from the poet Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. So, with that thought, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. And thank you for joining us.
Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Yes, thank you, Kathy. And I do believe all we have left are announcements. What is it that I should announce? 22nd of February. There will be an origami class on the 22nd of February. I'm going to resume my Tai Chi classes Tuesday and Thursday at 1, and unless COVID gets worse. You always have to check the current COVID protocols. But as of right now, we were open this morning, and here we are. Yes, Jeannie?
And next Sunday is a pet memorial service?
Oh, yes, thank you. I knew there's something I needed to talk about. The next Sunday will be our combined Nirvana Day, commemorating the passing of the historical Buddha Shakyamuni, and as most of our temples do, we combine that with a pet memorial. So if some of our longtime members have already sent us images of your pets that we are going to have put up on the internet. But if you haven't, bring them Sunday. Come in person Sunday and put them here. I'm sure Alan can take a shot of them live.
Or they could email it.
Yeah, or you can email it. If you can email us an image of your deceased pet. This really, we do things sometimes that are more important than they look. This is really important. It really is. For so many people, your pet is the point where you realize that animals are just as important as we are. This is a crucial realization, the value of other forms of life. And so we combine with our valuing of the historical Buddha Shakyamuni, our valuing of other forms of animal life. So bring your image if you haven't yet. We will commemorate those lost friends of ours, and we will see them again one day too. This community of ours is vast, and it's going into the light. We'll see our friends, we'll see our pets. It's all in this ocean of light we will enter together one day. Right now it shines on us. I will then close, if I may. Hope to see you at the Pet Memorial Nirvana Day service next Sunday, 10 a.m. And I'll see some of you at 1 o'clock Tuesday or Thursday for our Tai Chi class. We will close with Gassho. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you very much. Namo Amida Butsu.